So I want to have a conversation. I got a message from Chronic, and he said he was reading the new Market Wizard book, and he pulled out a chapter, and he said it brought him to tears. It says, "One final perspective." Toward the end of the chapter, Russo said, "If you're short, you won't be an NBA player." This comment immediately reminded me of Spud Webb. Spud Webb was only 5'7", NBA point guard who had a respectable NBA career despite being told he was too short to play basketball. Webb famously won the '86 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. I mean, that's jumping and putting the ball into the hoop, like grabbing the hoop. That is way up there. Like, I'm 6'1", so to be able to do that at my height, it seems like it's way to fuck up there. Anyways, Webb also inspired New York Knicks 5'9" Nate Robinson, who won the dunk contest in '06, '09, and 10. This sports snippet isn't meant to be a lesson in history of shorter NBA players winning dunk contests so much as pointing out the exceptions exist. If guys like Spud Webb had listened to people who told him he couldn't play basketball, he might have never tried. Chronic said this. I mean, he said my eyes started to water and I got fucking lump in my throat. A lightning bolt shut up my balls. It was like an out-of-body experience. I can't really explain why a single paragraph had an effect on me. But I think I've been told so many times in life and even told myself that I can't be a traitor. There's so many things stacked against a guy like you and me. We suck at math. Actually, I'm decent at math. Algebra. Not anymore. We did horrible at school. At least I did. We can't focus on more than one thing at a time. We're not academic. But he says that's our strength. I want to address the part where he says he's told himself that he can't be a traitor. I think before I do that, let's get a little context. Kind of watch this in the background. There has been a big rebalance effect going on in this section. Stocks are mostly neutral. They're buying now. I know this area was important for my trades that I took. Right as we opened. If you look at my timestamps on these trades, they were within 5 minutes of the open because I had a doctor appointment at 9. But the thing is, I didn't like YOLO. I didn't YOLO in any of those trades. I had unwavering faith. And I am recording this, by the way, which I will put on YouTube. Let's just see what they're doing real quick. They are definitely spoofing upward. And I might not even pay attention to this because I want to get lost in some thoughts here. So I've told you guys this story, but I think I'll tell it again. I think that you need to believe in yourself. Obviously. I mean, if you're trading, then there must be some sort of belief in your ability to attempt to do this, whether scientifically it's proven you can do it or not. Right? If you're trying to trade, there's got to be some belief in yourself. Where's that coming from? Is that what's driving you? I mean, that's got to be some fuel to keep you going. Belief, right? Belief in something. That's what drives people. Is that scientifically proven? whatever you're doing. I mean, whatever you're doing may not have, I mean, you're doing it for the first time. You may have not achieved it. What's driving you? Something that's not seen or known, right? I think faith is very important in yourself and your ability to do this. I would say that, I mean, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I don't really give a shit, because there's going to be like one guy that's like, okay, this was, I needed that. And if most of you aren't going to make it as traders, at least maybe I can give you something you can take from this. I think a lot of you guys believe in yourselves to a different degree. I think that belief can go right out the window pretty quick during trials and tribulations. And I want to use an analogy. I want to use this because, like, it just makes complete sense. And I want you to think of this from the perspective of believing in yourself. But there's a lot of psychological things we can unpack here. So I'm going to read a piece of scripture, and this is what's going to make things controversial, but I want you guys to think of this from the perspective of believing in yourself and having faith in your ability to do this. Okay. A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and they immediately sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. So this is a parable. This is an analogy, and I speak in a lot of analogies when I talk about trading, just in my videos in general. Okay? So this is the parable of the sower explained. And you can use this to however you want, but I invite you to think about your situation in trading. So I want you to understand that we live in a world, before I explain this, where it's just designed to make you feel like shit. I think most people are unhappy. I think most people are quick to anger. I think most people's joy is stolen from them very quickly. Could take somebody cutting you off in traffic or something of that nature. You could believe in yourself and trading, but it could take one stop loss to make you lose belief. It could take one trading session to make you absolutely lose belief in this. Maybe a week, maybe 3 days. It's happened to me before. You trade really good for weeks, months, and then you have a bad week. Then you start to question and doubt everything you've ever done in trading. That's not good to be in that place. Whereas you should have gratitude of what you have achieved, and you should take this lesson of losing, because obviously I had some problems the last week, right? Last week I had some pretty big fucking problems. I don't usually get fucked up 2 days in a row, but I got fucked up 2 days in a row. I've tilted. And the last prior month, I've experienced more tilt than I've experienced in a very long time in a very short period of time. Even though the trading has been good for the most part, transitioning into holding and not doing my trade tagging, not reviewing, not learning, not staying in high spirits, compounded that. But this week so far, it's Thursday, has been exquisitely amazing. The way you show up when you trade, or the way you show up in life in general, just certainly has an influence on what's going to happen. Why do you think the most popular YouTube videos have like negative context in their thumbnails and titles? Because people are addicted to that shit. People are addicted to negativity. There's a neuroscientist I really like. I can't remember his name. You would think I would, since I like him. But there was a short period where I listened to him for several days in a row and just binged his shit. He was also a man of faith, which I appreciated. And whether you believe in a higher power or not, the universe, because I used to be super new age, right? The universe and law of attraction, and I do believe in that shit. But I've sort of switched my belief to Christ. And I don't want to be the shit it down your throat type of guy. I know people don't like that. But I want you to relate what you're experiencing with how you're feeling. This isn't to convert anybody by any means. It is simply to use analogies. Much like I use sport analogies or some other analogy that has nothing to do with trading. This is just another method of doing it. Okay? But maybe somebody can take something from it. More. Maybe that can happen. But I think if people are trying to model me, I think if people are going to look up to me, I think if people want to understand more of my way of thinking with psychology and the ability to perform, I think you guys should know all of it. I think you should understand where my heart is and what drives me to perform. Where is that coming from? Because you have to believe in yourself in order to do this. You all have taken the first steps, or however many steps you're doing this. And there's just like, what the fuck? What evidence do you have that you're going to even fucking do this? What fucking evidence do you have? You have nothing other than a fucking belief. So that is something we can all relate on. So if you're going to believe in yourself, you better fucking believe 100 fucking %. Or you better be on the better side of 50. Right? Because it won't fucking work. I've seen it too much with the negativity in specific traders who just cry and complain all the fucking time about it. They believed in themselves, but for the most part, they don't. They believed in themselves enough to set out to do this. But most of the time, they're letting the external world dictate how they fucking feel. Just like you, when somebody cuts you off in traffic, you stub your toe, and then the day goes to fucking shit. You guys, I don't know. There was a day last week I go, well, this is just how it's going to unfold. Everything seemed to go wrong. I go into those phases, and I'm not 100%, but I am well above the 50% mark of belief. I would honestly give myself somewhere in the fucking 70s to 80%. Okay? And because of that, I can just edge myself, not sexually, but I can edge myself in the direction I want my life to go. Right? I've talked about this shit a lot, and I want to let you guys know something, and this is very important. And Chronic said this at the end of his message. He says, I want this bad. I don't want anything else in life than to be a fucking top 0.1% trader. And I know I'm going to do it. All the reasons why I shouldn't be are my motivation, my edge. But it's impossible without a mentor. And it's impossible without a mentor who matches your identity as a trader and aligns with your personality. Is it? Is it impossible? I really didn't have a mentor myself. See, when traders are... It's not just traders, it's people in general. When you suffer extreme pain and you suffer hardships, there's this book. Let me pull it up. I should have a photo of it. It's called The Body Keeps the Score by, well, I'm not going to read that fucking name, but it's Bessel van der Kolk, MD. And I did read it. So The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, Body, and the Healing of Trauma. I think we can all agree that trading is very traumatic in a lot of ways. I do plan on doing a video on holding versus scalping, and there is a I've rehearsed it, I've filmed it, but I didn't like it. I need to film it again. But there's a section on the psychology of it and how we're not wired to do this, because, like, would you go, like, fuck with a lion in the woods or a bear or some shit? No. If you're standing on the edge of a cliff or a mountain, there's something magnetic that's going to prevent you from jumping off. Right? When you're dealing or trading, you are putting yourself into dangerous situations. Financially, money is our way of fucking with a lion in the woods. While we have a more cush, comfortable life and stuff, and we don't really have to fend for ourselves, and as far as, like, living in the wilderness goes, operating in society relies on money, and that in itself is survival at this point in time. And when you're trading, when it can take everything from you, that is like being mauled by a fucking bear and being severely fucked up, because it can severely fuck you up from a monetary standpoint, right? So when it comes to dealing with trauma, in that book I just talked about, it is found that people need somebody that is bigger, stronger than them, that can reassure them of situations. If you've ever experienced death, I experienced death of a girlfriend when I was 19 years old, and that was very hard to digest. I needed other people. I wanted to kill myself. That was extremely difficult. And not only did I experience her death, because I was going to school in Wyoming. I had to fly to Denver, drive from Denver to Laramie, Wyoming, where I was going to school. My mom had this feeling to send me home early because I wanted to go with her. She was going to a Ren fair, and I was supposed to be there with her, and then she got killed by a drunk driver head on. Her and another one of her friends died. They were severed. That's what her brother said, so that means her body was cut in half. Right? And I had the most intense dream. Like, she literally called me when she was leaving. I was too tired. We said, "I love you." I went to sleep because I had flown and driven for some time. So she must have called me not even an hour before her death. The most intense dream that a prior girlfriend died, and it was so horrific that I woke up in a sweat, and I'm like, oof, thank God that was a dream. Then I saw I had a bunch of missed calls from people telling me to call him back. He probably heard what happened. So I called my best friend who left a voicemail, and I go, "What happened?" He goes, "You don't know?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Danielle's dead." Didn't believe him. Started calling her phone. Went straight to voicemail. Complete denial and disbelief. And the worst part, I mean, it was all pretty bad, but the worst part was I was home alone. My roommates weren't coming for another fucking at least 24 hours. Because my mom decided to send me home a day early before everybody else. So not only did I have to sit there alone and process this shit, but it was also very traumatic that I needed to talk to other people. And it doesn't have to be something that big. It doesn't have to be something that traumatic. Trading can be hard enough. So what happens when you don't have a fucking mentor? What do you do when you don't have shit going on in your life? You don't have somebody that's going to just tell you it's going to be all right. Like when Chronic's getting blown out and I just have these conversations. I didn't have it. What do you fucking do? Also, how the fuck did I have a dream where I premised this death, essentially? Why did I have the most intense dream? Why did my mom have a feeling to send me home early? Well, I will say that there's a lot more going on than what we fucking know of. I believe that we live in a spiritual world. I experience a lot of weird fucking shit. She died in 2006. October 1st, 2006. In 2012, my buddy David, who told me about her death on the phone, I've known him since like 3rd grade. I think this was around the Sandy Hook shooting. I called him about it because I was really a big conspiracy theorist at that point in time. And something about him changed, man. He just started preaching. Kind of like what I'm about to do here. He went on a bad path. He was stealing shit out of people's cars, and he met this older black dude that he worked with at a warehouse that just started preaching to him. And it was just like, kind of like that stereotypical shit it down your throat Christian speak. There's a reason they do that. Their cup is overfilled with joy. Imagine this. Imagine if you won the lottery, hundreds of millions of dollars after taxes. And when you found out you won, you would be fucking high as a kite on joy. For who knows, weeks, months. You'll eventually get desensitized to it. But imagine that feeling. You've probably felt an overwhelming amount of joy in your life at some point. And when you feel joy, you want to just tell people about it. And when you feel joy and you feel good and you're having a great fucking day, more good things seem to happen. Just like when a day starts off shitty, it keeps getting shittier. Why is it there's just those days where you're feeling it, and then it just gets better and better. Flow state, trading well, everything I touch is good. Can you explain flow state? Can you explain why is it that I just feel so fucking good that I just start trading and I'm just in it? What is flow state? It's a mental state. So, up until 2012, I had been having these reoccurring dreams of Danielle. It was almost like a gray hue, and I don't have reoccurring dreams. There had actually been one reoccurring dream, which was interesting. I dreamt I had lost a tooth, like it cracked in half and fell out. And it took maybe a decade, and it actually happened. I don't know why I was having that dream, but it fucking happened. Other than that reoccurring dream, I felt as though I kept seeing Danielle in this world. It was like gray, like an old movie almost, but it was a different type of gray. And it was like a waiting room, like a doctor's office that I just went to, actually. It was like a waiting room. And I felt that I wasn't dreaming, and I felt she had faked her death to leave me. And I was so mad, and I would like try to talk to her, but it was like she would just stared through me like a ghost. She didn't even look me in the eyes. It's like she was just sitting there, not moving, staring straight. And it was like I was a ghost in her world. And everybody else in that waiting room, there was other people. They were almost doing the same thing. I couldn't understand what the fuck that was about. There was a lot more weird shit that happened around that death. First and foremost, she was 17, I was 19. It's legal in Texas, okay? At that age. We were looking at lifelines on our hands at one point, and she goes, "I'm going to die young." and I want to be cremated. I don't know, at that point in time, I don't know anybody who really just says that shit like that. It's weird because, like, she said I was the first person she ever experienced love with. The last night I was with her, we went to this rich neighborhood to toilet paper some houses. I don't know whose houses we toilet papered, but I don't know if kids still do that shit. I've not seen it. But you buy a bunch of toilet paper and just throw it up into people's trees. But there was this really good area. We toilet papered the same house like fucking 20, 30 times. Just because it had a good like exit route through a trail through the woods. I don't think you can do that anymore because of Ring doorbells and shit. But back then, yeah, you could do it. So she told me she wanted me to go down a different road, like a different street in the neighborhood, and there was a street sign called Falling Star, and she goes, I want that street sign. And after that night I took her home, watched her walk into her house. The next morning I flew away, and for some reason the airplane went right over her fucking house. I could see it as clear. And it kind of circled it slightly. It was weird because every time I took off, it never went over like houses I was familiar with. And I happened to be sitting on the right side of the plane, or the left side of the plane, but it happened to have been on the side that was banking to where I could just see straight down. So after the death and the funeral, I had picked a song called Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. It was kind of popular then. It's on the radio. And me and my buddies went out to go take that street sign. As soon as we ripped the entire fucking sign out, the whole stop sign, and we had some Allen keys. We took the whole fucking top of it, threw the stop sign on the fucking ground. Which you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be taking stop signs out of the ground, but we did that. As soon as I get in the car, turn it on and drive, the fucking song right from the beginning, the Snow Patrol song came on right as I turned the fucking car on, right at the beginning of the fucking song. At this point, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I wasn't very spiritual. I didn't believe in shit. I was an atheist. But I was having very odd experiences. And from that moment on, it just kept happening. And people have asked me to do the Cult of Cat, which I haven't done in a while, and I guess this is one of those episodes. It's not going on that channel. So, In 2012, reoccurring dreams, David had become some devout Christian. I told him about these fucking dreams, and he's like, you should pray for her. So I did. And then the dreams stopped. But for years, they kept happening. Then I didn't go to church or anything, but I started to just talk to God like some dude. Some regular ass guy. And then at that time, I had sort of lost my job. And I was pedicabbing downtown, which is a bicycle taxi. And this is the part of the story you guys have probably heard. Some of you. Didn't know how I was going to pay rent. $600. But for some reason, I had unwavering faith that everything was going to be completely fucking fine. I didn't know where that was coming from. It was just in God, I guess. But it was just on this fucking level where it was like easy mode. And I felt that I needed to give homeless people money because I felt if God was to come back, he'd be a homeless guy or some shit. Because nobody believed. There was a lot of people that didn't believe in him when he existed. That's why he got crucified. And then everybody kept saying, if you're the real Messiah, you'd get yourself off the cross. Right? And then when he died, there was a massive fucking earthquake and shit. Destroyed a temple. But he didn't prove shit to some of these people. Excuse me. So, I just had this faith. And I was giving homeless people money that I just would put my hand in my wallet. Whatever I grabbed, they got it. If it was $5, it was $5. If it was a 20, it was a 20. I wasn't like, ooh, I need that fucking money. I gotta pay rent. I just let it go. And it was in February, and it's cold, and nobody wants a pedicab ride in frigid February. I had one ride for $5, been out for hours. Then a group of people approached me and another pedicabber, 5 people. They needed a ride. We went to the Four Seasons, which was an easy ride, slightly downhill. And when we got there, the guy grabbed a wad of cash out of his wallet, the guy in my cab, and, you know, we raced each other going there. They were drunk. Had some fun, right? And when he goes to pay me, he goes, I'm going to give you everything I got. And it was a wad of cash, so obviously he paid for both cabs. Me and this other dude went into a parking garage to count it out, and we both walked away with $748. And at that time, I could pay rent, which was $600. That was a fucking miracle. And then the word circulated amongst the community about this being one of the biggest tips they've heard of. I didn't say anything to anybody. The other guy did. And I kept experiencing weird shit shortly after, was fucked off all night, and I was just sitting on 6th Street after the bars closed around 2 a.m., sitting in the back of the cab, and I just started praying, and I go, I just need enough money to cover lease, which was $20 because you rent the cab, and I wanted to do the boss right because I liked him. I said, I don't need to make shit today. I looked down, and there was a 20. It didn't happen immediately. I was just had the prayers earlier in the night, but I was sitting in the back of the cab, feet crossed on the bike seat, watching drunk people waiting for a ride. I look down and there's a $20 fucking bill in the seat next to me. Where the fuck did that come from? Somebody might have just put it there, but that's how I believe God works, through other people. They have a feeling to do something, and then it's all just coordinated in a lot of ways. I believe we do have freedom of choice, and it's not necessarily destiny in the sense that everything is planned. You get to make the choice. But it was divinely coordinated. And it's not just those few things. It just like continuously happen. In many different ways, not just money, but other shit. It just continued to fucking happen. But my faith always wandered like a sheep stray. But in those moments, I believed in my fucking heart. So part of what I'm saying is you need to have that level of belief. Just because it's good for you, but also you just might have very paranormal experiences. I remember before I moved to the place I'm in now, some of you may have remembered, my very last trading session in my old place, I just knew. And I took I had like a $10,000 trade or some shit. I've had a few, but that whole moment of just knowing and shit, that faith, that belief. So I want to go back to the parable of the sower explained. And listen carefully. Hear then the parable of the sower. This is Matthew chapter 13, 18, by the way. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in the heart. This was sown along the path. So going back to the original, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. This would be the trader who has belief initially. But since the seed is on the path, the belief of trading is on a path, it doesn't flourish, it doesn't grow, it cannot root. The bird immediately eats it, and these people are gone very quickly. And the evil one would be the pessimism, the negativity, the something happened and it just set them off. They lost their belief very quickly. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. And when tribulation or persecution arises on the account of the Immediately he falls away. Going back, other seeds fell on the rocky ground where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. So, sometimes I have these lectures and people get fired up. I needed to hear that. But when the tribulations come, they do not survive. Which is dealing with trading is going to be full of tribulations. Their belief, their faith in themselves goes away. But they understand more than the initial trader, who's like the seed on the path. The next part, and this next part, I relate to this quite a bit. Matthew 13:7. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. So here's the explanation of that part. As for what was sown among the thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it is proved unfruitful. Maybe there's some of you who have listened to me, you understand what I am telling you. But then you get caught up in the reality of life. Maybe you do flourish a little bit, but then the thorns choke you. The thorns choke you. You do not. It's really easy to get caught up into it. Once you start doing good, you might start thinking about all the shit you're going to buy. You think about you don't think about the belief in yourself anymore. Because in order to believe in yourself, to have faith in your ability to trade, or anything else in life, really, this doesn't not have to be a trading lesson. But that's what I'm known for. That's what my content is, and that's what this will be, because I use it for this as well as other things. Right? I think this one is powerful. Matthew 13:22. As for what was sown among the thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word. When you guys see me tilt, and I just completely lose myself. See, the seed on the path never rooted or grew. The seed in the rocky soil did sprang up, but since it didn't have a deep root, the sun scorched it. The seed in the patch of thorns rooted and grew, but there's too many thorns that it was choked and crushed. Don't you think it's kind of funny that Jesus wore a crown of thorns? And by the way, everything I'm explaining to you about the sower is directly from the mouth of Jesus. It is red. It's written red in the Bible, which means it came from his mouth. I'm not here to, here's the deal. If you believe in anything divine, spiritually, the universe, law of attraction, whatever the fuck it is, you're a Muslim, you're a Hindi, I don't give a fuck. We can all coexist. But if you believe in something other than what the fuck is going on here now. And it's not about disproving this or that. I think if you read things very carefully, you can learn. I say this about other gurus or whatever in the trading space. You can hate on somebody like ICT or whatever the fuck, but if you truly... Here's the thing about haters. The people that hate on me do not understand what I do. They have not consumed the content or the word of Fat Cat. And typically, there are plenty of people, even Christians, and I'm not a Christian by any stretch of the imagination. I am a follower of Christ. I do like worship music at Christian churches. There's something I want to talk about with that. But there's a lot of people that have not read the book, and I haven't gone through all of it because there's plenty of books. Genesis, Hebrews, all sorts of shit, right? But I like the Gospels, the New Testament, the Gospels, because that is where Jesus is like straight up talking about what the deal is. And I was a big New Age law of attraction person, and I realized by reading this shit that it is the same fucking stuff. Which we'll be getting into here in a moment. I think at some point it becomes living. The word is alive. You don't read a book, the book starts to read you. And it goes back to that psychology book I was telling you guys about. The Body Keeps the Score. We want to look for somebody bigger and stronger than us, a mentor, when things are tough. Chronic says it's impossible. That's why he needs me. I don't have that. I don't have a real life mentor. So who's bigger and stronger than me? Christ. And it's easier for me to visualize a man other than a universe of fucking galaxies and stars. And I'm not here to shit on any of it. Whatever you believe in. I'm not here to shit on any of it. This is what works for me. Jesus in all of his paintings looks like a nice fucking guy. And I would like to just hang out with him. Right? He looks like a cool, decent fucking dude. That I could just fucking sit down and I could walk away feeling good after listening to him and talking to him. There's other people like that don't walk on water and shit. Which that's an interesting thing. By the way, when Jesus was walking on water, everybody was fucking amazed by it. And then Peter, one of the disciples, was like, I want to do it. And Jesus is like, come on out. And then he like freaked out, and then he fell in, and Jesus is like, you lost your faith, basically. Just like you guys lose faith in yourself and your ability to fucking trade. You're walking on the fucking water, motherfuckers, and then you fall in. Matthew 13:8. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. The parable explained. Matthew 13:23. As for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it. He indeed bears fruit and yields, in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and another 30. I might end up doing more of this. I probably will. And I've teared up a lot during this conversation. At this point, you can probably tell I am speaking from the heart. I've seen some YouTube videos where like God made me profitable, and I'm not gonna dismiss that, but I just don't. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's virtue signaling, and I don't want to fucking speculate. I don't want to judge. The core message I have for you guys is a belief in yourself. I don't give a fuck if it's trading or something else. I just want to tell you where good performance is coming from. When I'm weak, because life has been rough for me. Whether you've seen it or not, this is what I don't like about the internet and social media in general, is it is a highlight reel of the best parts of people's lives. And then when you look at yourself, you go, what the fuck is wrong with me? My life don't look like that, but it should. My life doesn't look like that, but it certainly should, shouldn't it? I can't tell you how many times I've thought about killing myself. Now, I never come close to it. There'd been one time I put a gun to my head. And I was actually making content at that point. It was around 22. Had a nasty breakup. And this is when I was trading from in a closet to transitioning out of the closet. I know that sounds like I became gay or some shit. Yeah, but I was sitting in the bathtub. Just thinking about it. Even though I hated this woman with all my heart at the time, I've had it rough. I've had it real rough. I know people have had it worse in some ways or another, but it was not smooth, and it still isn't smooth at times. So, if you don't have shit, what do you do to get through it? At that point in 22, it really was about law of attraction, and that's when I first started making hypnosis tracks without realizing what I was doing. I'm just going deep into meditation. And they say you can meditate on the Word of God, right? So here's what it's about as far as I understand. The soil is your heart, and you're planting the seed of belief. And whatever it is you're doing, the faith. Because everything you do in life, for the most part, comes with some form of belief before you do it. You have to open the heart. And I assume most of you know what it feels like to have your heart be opened in an open state. Now, depending on what's happened in your life, some of you might just close it up all the fucking time. Because you deal with humans, right? There was a prostitute in the Bible, and a bunch of people wanted this woman stoned to death. And Jesus says, that's fine. He who has no sin can cast the first stone. And they all fucking walked away. And we're very quick to judge others. We're very quick to tell other people they have a speck in their eye when we have a log in ours. It happens in the Christian church. People, it's a lifestyle, but they're quick to look like they're virtuous, living a virtue life. And it's not all of them. Let's not think this way. Every group has good and bad people. And forgiveness, that's a big one, man. Carry that shit with you. The Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I'm going to rush through this up until a certain part. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Something amazing happens when you truly are in a place of faith and you believe in your fucking self. And you are having a good day. You are in flow state in life and in trading. But the world is very quick to snatch it from you. There's a very interesting book written by Napoleon Hill, who was a sort of a law of attraction guy, and I don't remember the name of the book, but I believe it was A Conversation with the Devil or some shit like that. That was written in like the fucking 30s. And if you listen to that fucking book, it talks about how pornography is going to become more of a thing. They're going to take God out of schools. It was very fucking fascinating. Because it almost premised what the fuck has happened. Which pornography is destroying young men. It's destroying men in general. It is. It destroys relationships. And this isn't me speculating. I know it. I've seen it. It's fucked some of my relationships up. There's a reason a lot of men try to fucking quit that shit. It's a fucking nasty drug. When you don't have your sexual energy anymore, you can't give it to your woman. Because after you nut, you have post-nut clarity. You don't want to fucking do shit. There's plenty of shit that is destroying us. There's a lawsuit against YouTube and Facebook because it's making men depressed. The youngest generation, this newest generation, by the way, are turning to God in a higher record than the generations before them. Because as the world gets darker, what do you got at some fucking point? I can't be everybody's trading mentor. I'm just trying to tell you guys that I don't have shit, but this is what I have. And it fucking works. The heart is the soil. The seed is your faith. Because for whatever reason, whether you believe in this or not, because I just straight up with the universe and law of attraction, I've experienced miracles through that pathway as well. Okay? But for me, it's just easier to visualize some guy, and when it's like in this really old fucking book, I just think it's the meta. I know there's been plenty of religions and whatever that came before and after, and it really isn't about religion, because, you know, God talks about praying privately, not putting on a show, right? It's in your heart. Religion, religion, I think community can be a good thing. I think there are some great churches. I like the ones where they fucking handle rattlesnakes. There's not many of those anymore, but West Virginia has a rattlesnake church where they hold the fucking rattlesnakes and they fucking preach and shit. Because and there's a chapter in Mark where he talks about picking up serpents when you believe, and drinking poison and shit. And these motherfuckers in West Virginia do that. They drink poison and pick up snakes. And yeah, some of the preachers have fucking died. There's a good white underbelly fucking episode with this Pentecostal preacher or some shit, a serpent preacher. And he says, well, the disciples were killed. Peter was killed. I like Peter because Peter was like, during the Last Supper, Jesus is like, you guys are going to turn on me. He knew he had to be put to death, right? And Peter's like, I'm not going to do that shit. And he goes, you're going to do it. You're going to do it 3 times until you hear, I forget what it is, like some bird crow or some shit like that. And then these little girls were like, you were with Jesus, you know him. And he's like, no, I don't. If you watch Passion of the Christ, you'll see that part. And then he ended up doing, he felt bad and did disciple work after. The belief, the faith, it when you really look at it, is about faith. Just unaware. I don't know what's going to happen in my life. I don't know how it's going to go. I just know that it's going to be fine. And then when something happens, something is going to try to make you lose that faith. And it happens in your trading. You're on a great fucking win streak. Something is going to happen. You can call it the devil, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but something not good will happen, and try to take the seed and eat it off the path like the bird. Something is going to happen in your fucking trading, and it has happened to any of you who's been around long enough, that something is going to take your fucking joy away. Something is going to fuck you up mentally. So how weak are you in your belief in your fucking self? I don't give a fuck if you jive with what I'm saying or not. The whole Jesus shit, I don't give a fuck about that. I do, but I don't give a fuck in the sense that you walk down that path or not. It's not my fucking decision. It's not my fucking job. Right? I'm only sharing my fucking experiences. But what I'm telling you is from just a purely scientific trading standpoint, if you don't fucking believe in yourself, and if you've been a part of trading communities long enough, you will see it. You will see it, and you will experience it if you already have not. Something will try to snatch it from you. So when you think I've figured this out, what are you going to do when it gets a little tough? I believed I could pull off this morning before my doctor's appointment. Normally that would be stupid. Normally, pull that up. Normally that would be dumb. Look at the first trade, minus 2,200, but I kept my fucking shit together. And I said, God, show me the next trade. God, show me the next trade. Now, I'm not saying that this should be your method. In fact, most of my trading isn't God, show me the next trade. Most of it is me sitting here narrating whatever. There might be a little something before the session and after. But I'm like, I think I can pull this off. I think I can get a read before my doctor's appointment. And it worked. That might not be enough evidence to convince anybody of anything, but when it compounds, when you first start to experience something and you go, wait a second, that was weird. Then it happens again and you're like, that was also weird. And then it keeps fucking happening. After so many years and so many experiences, just the little ones, the big ones are nice. Getting tips $748, but even something simple and small, whatever it may be, at some point you're like, yeah, that's you, Lord. You're looking back and waving at me. I see that shit. Or it's you, the universe, or Allah, or whoever the fuck, whatever it is. Or grandma, dad. I think it's interesting that Jesus spoke in parables, just like I use analogies in my trading when I talk to you guys about this. Somebody in the comments yesterday actually said Fat Cat's the best explainer, and I do appreciate that because I'm very good at it. There's a reason Jesus spoke in parables. Talks about it. The The purpose of the parables. The disciples came and said to him, "Why do you speak in them parables?" And he answered to them, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. Faith." This is me adding it. Just believing in this shit. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Something is going to try to take it from you. Your mind will be fucking raided. If you suffer from porn or some sort of like weakness or whatever it is, your mind will be raided. So are you the seed on the path, the rocky soil, or in the fucking thorns? All of them fucking die at some point. I want to be the one on fertile soil, personally. Happiness is from within. It is not external. It is not monetarily. It's nice. Money is great. Plenty of rich people who are miserable as fuck. Look at the Kardashians always fucking arguing about some bullshit. Right? The secret is believing in yourself, having full fucking faith. It's The Secret. The book, The Secret, on the law of attraction. It's on Netflix. The Secret. And here it's different. To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. This was written in another time, so the way they explain it is completely different. And personally, I do believe in this stuff. Okay? I had to believe in myself to be able to perform in trading. You have to believe in yourself. Even in my old hypnosis videos before I turned to Christ again, because I wasn't there in those old hypnosis videos that I have on my playlist section, even then I talk about how you must believe in yourself to where it's like almost like delusional. Faith is delusional, is it not? Statistically speaking, people in the hospital with more faith seem to come out of it. Why do placebos and drug trials work? Is the mind not a very powerful thing? How is it sometimes you just know a fucking trade's gonna work? I mean, there could be many reasons for that. Maybe there's subconscious patterns you don't realize that are setting up. But you're still trying to predict the fucking future, which is unknown, and sometimes you just know. Is hell not on earth? Do we not suffer as humans? Is the spiritual warfare not right the fuck now? Are the people not getting more and more divided? I'm not here to preach end times or the Revelations, which is actually, I really like that book. I haven't gone through it all. I'm still working through it, and there's certain chapters and books I cycle over and over and over. And I just try not to consume bullshit on YouTube anymore, because it just can make you feel empty and shitty. And it's this machine of fucking making content. You eat it, you consume it, they're making it, they're churning it out, appease the algorithm. My upload schedule is absolute dog shit. I don't know, I just make shit when I feel it. For the one who has more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Let that settle in for a minute. Again, the purpose of the parables, chapter 13:11. To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For the one who has more will be given. Why is it that some people just seem to have fucking good luck and they keep getting shit, and you have bad luck and it keeps sucking? For the one who has more will be given, and he will have abundance. Abundance mindset, folks. I've talked about this in some of my hypnosis shit. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. So those of you who have a little bit, it'll be taken from you. Those of you who have just a little bit of faith and belief in your ability to fucking trade, but you're not fully there, it will be taken from you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just presenting this shit completely different than everybody else. I am just merely explaining how this shit is resonating with me to really fucking start to grasp what I've believed in. Law of attraction. And now I'm starting to realize, because I never read the Bible before, this is the same shit. I think there's more to it. But it is fucking crazy, because there's one part where Jesus is sleeping on a boat and they're fucking going through like hurricane fucking gale force fucking waves. Everybody's freaking the fuck out. Somebody wakes him up. Hey, we're gonna fucking die. Jesus says, oh, you of little fucking faith. Then he calms the water down. Even if this shit didn't really happen, the fucking analogies and the stories in it just to live your life from a better perspective is pretty fucking good. I'll just say that much. There's plenty of fictional material like Star Wars that seems to have a life fucking lesson in it. And that didn't fucking happen. But you can definitely take something away from it. I mean, if you're watching a movie that's all make-believe and you feel emotions during the movie, well, it's hit you in an emotional way, and emotions are very important. We are so good at fucking believing in bullshit negativity. 80% of what we think of every day is not true. You have dwelled on bullshit that never happened. But for some reason, most of us can't do it the other way around, where you believe in something great that may not happen, but holy shit. Sometimes it does. Just like when you freak out about something, you can kind of manifest your own downfall. So going back to, for to the one who has more will be given, he will have in abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. What you're seeing and what you're experiencing in your trading and in your life, you are a victim to the 5 senses. Although you can worry about something that you don't see. Faith and manifestation for what you desire is like the seed growing. If the seed falls on the path, it will not root. The bird will immediately eat it. If it falls on the rocky soil, it'll come up. But the sun will scorch it because the root is not strong enough. Or if it falls into the fucking soil with the thorns, it will root and grow, but it will be choked by the thorns. Which is just everyday life. It's not easy, man, to live like this. It's not easy to live from the mindset and the faith you need to achieve what you desire in life and just to feel good in general. You have decades of default mode, right? Which might not be the best. And to try to break that fucking habit, it certainly is a lot easier to do it when you have somebody bigger and stronger you can rely on and not do it yourself. A mentor. The thing is, when two oxes are pulling a fucking plow in a field or two horses are plowing a field, they yoke them together. That way when one horse gets tired, the other one can pick up the slack. You gonna do it by yourself when you're tired, or would you like to be yoked up with fucking something bigger and more powerful than you? I think listening to this, there's something called I think it's called a Stronger Faith podcast. It is about paranormal stories where people have very weird experiences with God, which you don't hear in Christian churches or nothing, and I highly suggest listening to that shit because it is fucking bizarre. I've had them. So this is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Unless you've had these experiences, you may never understand. Some of you may have had some experiences, so you kind of get it. So using analogies, just like trading, I use analogies or parables, if you'd like, to explain trading so people can understand it because they've not experienced certain things in trading. Like my management video, which is the last one. I thought that was a very good video. Really explaining shit in a way to hopefully get people to understand. Matthew 13:14. Indeed, in their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled that says, you will indeed hear but never understand, and you will indeed see but never perceive. When you have faith in yourself, you're letting the fucking root tap into your heart, which is the soil. And if your heart is closed, the bird is going to eat the fucking seed off the path. If you occasionally open your heart, the seed will fall into the rocky soil and just root. But the moment some shit, life happens, the sun will scorch it. And then your heart closes. Bang. And that belief, because it takes time for something to root and grow. It doesn't just happen overnight. Or if you're trying and your heart is open half of the time, you have faith, you believe, but then something happens, you just get swept away in the world, gets choked out by the thorns. You must live with your heart being open, which the heart can be measured 3 meters away with an electromagnetic testing fucking scientific tool. The heart is considered the second brain, and the heart does put off energy, and when you love, you feel it from the heart. Therefore, you must open the heart. You must open the heart and have faith, and it might not be easy. Belief in yourself. I think it's easier to do it with Christ, personally. Just having full faith, like, dude, this is going to work out. And just feeling it in the heart. And when you do that, the cup overflows. Your cup will be filled to where it's just spilling off the sides, and then you want to tell people. Obviously, I had that experience this morning. So now I'm telling you, when you are so joyous about something, you are going to want to share it. And who does not want to be so fucking joyous about something? And I'm going to tell you that for me to hit that point of joyousness, I've never experienced hitting it as much as I have with Christ. This is my life, my experiences. You're in my room, my YouTube, listening to me, so you can hear what I have to say about my experiences. What I share with you guys is not, hey, you should do this. I think there are things you guys should do. You got to review. That's what Chronic realizes in the new Market Wizard, is a lot of these guys are reviewing. Because Friday I did a 3-hour review, and that seemed to have turned the week around, as well as getting my shit together spiritually. I don't know about you guys, but I want to be happy as fuck and filled, overflowing with joy all the fucking time. I want to be happy and high all the fucking time. Is that not heaven on earth? I mean, personally, my goal is not to get into heaven or whatever the fuck. My goal is to just fucking do the best I can on this earth and enjoy it to the best of my fucking abilities, because I don't want to fucking suffer until my death. I don't want to mentally suffer. I want to be joyous all the fucking time. And this is how I find it. There's a good law of attraction lady named Abraham Hicks, and she talks about rampaging. And I've talked about this years ago in some of my older videos, where you just get yourself amped the fuck up at the beginning of the day by saying a bunch of good shit, having a lot of gratitude. And it works. But I also find that listening to worship music and just fucking jamming out to the point especially with other people, because where a few gather, the Holy Spirit will be there, and you can feel it. And I just feel when I'm jamming with motherfuckers, I can feel it. They can feel it. The more I start to feel it, it's weird, because the more I get into it, it seems like the more everybody else gets into it. Almost like I live in the Matrix or some shit. And the world is a reflection of me. Because the world is a reflection of you. What are you thinking about most of the time? What are you meditating on most of the time? What are not negative thoughts? We can use that as an analogy. It's the devil. Are negative thoughts not... They're called negative thoughts for a reason. They're not good. But we could relate it to Satan if we wanted to. Right? There are just negative thoughts that I don't want, and they keep fucking coming. And it is a battle. And it takes work, because I need to let the fucking seed root and grow and not just die. We can use anything as an analogy. But I just think that when it comes to the psychological aspect of this is very important, because you either have it or you don't. And I already can tell you that before I spoke about any of this, and I've been, if you listen carefully in my older videos, any of my videos, I touch on this a lot. You can tell who's gonna succeed and who might not. Just not in just trading, but in any endeavor, really. They're weak. Their belief in themselves is weak. They let the external influence them. And when you eat nutritious food, you can't see the nutrition in it. You just know it's working. I'm going to eat a fucking banana or a piece of chicken breast or some shit, right? I just know it works. I can't see it. I know it takes time. You need to continue to water the faith in the heart, leaving the heart open the heart. And you'll soon find how difficult it is. When you do traditional meditating, you'll realize how difficult holding the thought on the breath is. The more you meditate, the more you get better at that, but you'll quickly realize the mind wanders. And when the mind wanders, you could be lost in thoughts for minutes. And then you're like, oh shit. Losing faith in your belief and your ability to do this or whatever else is like the wandering mind. You need to focus on having the heart open and just believing. However you get there, maybe you don't. You're like, I don't really believe what I'm saying. What can you do to get there? That's why Abraham Hicks talks about rampaging. Maybe that's worship music for somebody else. Maybe that's me just getting in my car after this conversation and just having a fucking conversation with God in the car, like some guy, hey, God, this is what's happening today. I don't like this. I'm upset with this. Put your burdens on him. He will take your burdens. He is the other ox or the other horse in the yoke. Lean on it. Give him the fucking burdens. Why is that in the fucking scriptures? You can do it yourself. You can try. But this is why I think this is the meta, in my opinion. Why the fuck would I not try to share it? This is what I do. I, for quite some time at this point, have, every time I tell you guys I'm going to go for a break, I get in my car, I drive, and I fucking have conversations. Verbally, out loud, with nobody sitting in the passenger seat. Like I'm talking to you now. The way I am talking to you now is the way I talk to God. And then suddenly I'll just get hit with this wave of fucking joy. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, and then I will have these thoughts of clarity, of maybe some form of wisdom. The way my trading system has been developing, by the way, has me been asking for wisdom from God for months at this point. Months and months. Many months, I couldn't tell you. I think 2 weeks before Easter, I started going back to church. Just to give you an idea, it's July 9th. Obviously, I had a relationship with God a little bit before that. A few weeks. I stray, I go in, back out, in, out, in, out. I think it was December. I was feeling real down. I was feeling real dark. Wanted to kill myself. I don't know why at that point. And I just started pleading. And then something changed. Pleading with God. It's just dark thoughts. We all have them. maybe that's like fucking hurting somebody else, or I don't know. If you look at the comments on the internet versus how people interact with other people in real life, it's two different worlds. But the thing is, on the internet, people show their true darkness, their true hatred, but they won't do that in real life. But that's what's going on beneath. Well, we all have it. We all have the ability to become possessed in a way, which is interesting. Last 4th of July, I went to a party, and there was somebody named Ethan, and you can look this up. Like a week or two later, after this party, I didn't know this guy. I met him the first time. But after, like a week or two after that 4th of July party, he went to a Target parking lot and he shot a child in a car and then killed somebody else, the man in the car, and then he didn't kill the woman. And then he went on a rampage through Austin, just smashing into people in his car, and then he ended up naked in a cul-de-sac. He had fasted and prayed to God. Right before that. And I'm going to tell you personally, I think the closer you try to get, the more you will be attacked. It seems like when things just are going good in life, it gets taken from you. Whether you believe it or not. We're all capable of the dark side, like Star Wars. When Luke was going to the dark side and what was it? The Emperor said, yes, let the hate flow through you. When he was fighting his father in anger. It's poison. All of the bad shit you experience and fall victim to is killing you. Your thought patterns are killing you. Your thought patterns prevent you from progressing. You have to wage war internally. No matter what you believe in. I'll be wrapping this up here in a moment. Matthew 13:15. For this the people's heart has grown dull, and with their ears they can barely hear, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and in turn I would heal them. I'm reading the English Standard Version, which even then kind of is worded like shit, right? But let's unpack this. For this, the people, he talks in parables because people don't understand. You will indeed hear but never understand, and you will indeed see but never perceive. For this, people's hearts has grown dull. What did I tell you about the fucking heart? You must open it. At all times, your heart needs to be wide open, like with love and shit just flowing, and belief and your ability to trade at all fucking times. And if you can't do that, be delusional enough that you can, which is faith. For this, the people's hearts have grown dull. Their hearts are closing. And with their ears they can barely hear, and their eyes they have closed. Lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart, and in turn I would heal them. So if we look at, because I have to look this up. The word lest. Hold on. We don't use that word. For the fear, often used after an expression denoting fear or apprehension. I think we can all relate to that. For the people's hearts have grown dull, and with their hearts they can barely hear, and with their ears they can barely hear, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their hearts. So in fear, right? And understand with their heart, and in turn I would heal them. I mean, you do have to believe within the heart. This is why the soil is your heart. You have to let the faith, the belief in your ability to trade, ultimately, that's the fucking crux of this, right? Maybe you take more. Hope you take more from this. Hopefully, like, if you never become a trader, hopefully I can give you something you can just take. Where you're like, fuck, Fat Cat kind of just, like, changed the trajectory of my life slightly. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For truly I say to you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. He's talking to the disciples. Because there was prophets who God spoke to. Like, think about your thoughts. When you think about something, you have a problem, and then you have a solution, and it just popped up in your fucking head. Where did that fucking come from? How is it that sometimes I just have a dream about tweaking my trading or thought? Every invention was an idea, a thought. Where is that coming from? How is it people have a revelation in the sense of a discovery, or just like the rotary engine? The fucking guy dreamt it up. It came from your brain, your mind, dummy. Yes, I understand, but like, the seed of that fucking thought, that knowledge, how did that specific imagination of that solution for whatever problem you have just fucking pop up? So there are many prophets, and Jesus at this point is explaining to the disciples that you get to see and hear, like, the crazy shit that a lot of people would want to see and hear, right? He was crucified because he wouldn't do all the cool shit in front of the people that didn't believe in him. So I want to read a few more parables and then I'm done. The parable of the weeds. He put another parable for them, saying, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. So you're putting faith in your ability to trade in your heart. And your heart is a good heart. It is always open. But while his men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. So even though you are trying to believe in your trading, something is going to happen that's not good. This is the enemy to take your belief away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared also. So you're seeing success, but there's also some problems in there because you believed in yourself. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Did you not put good, faithful thoughts in your heart about your beliefs and trading? How then does it have weeds? How do you have negative beliefs in your trading? He said to them, an enemy has done this. So the servants said to him, then do you want us to go gather them? But he said, no. Lest is being used again. Lest in gathering the weeds. You root up the wheat along with them. So do not take the weeds out, because you will take the wheat with it. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time I will tell the reapers, which are the angels, gather the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. This man has sown seed in good soil, but even if you do that, you still will have weeds. But with faith, the angels, the reapers, will take the weeds at harvest time and burn them, while putting the goodness of what you believe in, you're trading into your barn. It's parables, folks. The mustard seed and the leaven. He put another parable for them, saying, the kingdom of heaven, and by the way, this is all Jesus speaking. The kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed that man took and sowed in his field. The kingdom of heaven, and I do believe that there could be some after something or other. Because what was interesting is when my dad died in 2015, after his funeral, I was in his house, which was in a gated community, and it was like, you're not getting in there type of gated community. Like, there were like dudes with guns at the gate type of gated community, right? I was in his house late at night, and I was saying, God, if you can hear me, give me a sign. And I was crying and shit at like 2 a.m, and then I left and came back at 8 a.m, and then when I came back, the TV was on in his room and the back door was open. I don't think a homeless person went in there, especially since he lived on the lake. I fucking locked the house. I always lock shit up. So there's something else going on. There's another fucking dimension. That's a whole nother story. So you having faith and joy and you just being a great trader. It's like the kingdom of heaven. The grain of mustard seed that the man took and sowed in his heart. The belief, the faith has been sowed into your heart on trading. It is the smallest of all seeds. The mustard seed is the smallest of all seeds. But when it has grown, it is larger than all the garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nest in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a leaven that a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour till it was all leavened. The parable of the weeds. The one who sows the good seed in the Son of Man, so in faith or God, depends how you want to look at it. The field is the world, and the good seed is the sons of kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Just as the weeds are gathered and burned with fire, so will it be the end of the age. You can look at this however you want. I think it's on earth, and I think it's spiritually in the afterlife as well. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom and cause sin in all lawbreakers. See, this is where it kind of goes into what really seems like heaven and hell, and throw them in the fiery furnace. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let him hear. It's also on earth. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Because there's a lot of stories in there where people get healed because they ask for it. He healed the blind, the deaf, casted out demons and shit like that, right? Just like Peter's like, hey, I want to fucking walk on water. And Jesus is like, come on out. Or if you believe, you can handle serpents and drink fucking poison, which I know seems fucking absolutely insane. And there are motherfuckers that do it. And I think, because I've talked about, I want to go to one of these rattlesnake churches. I'm going to end this here, but I want to go one of the fucking churches. Because those fucking people are delusional. And I like it. I want to be around fucking people that are just on that fucking level of fucking belief that they're going to drink some fucking whatever the fuck it is called. I don't remember. Turpentine, maybe? I don't know what it's called. And then pick up fucking rattlesnakes. Yeah, and sometimes they fucking get bit and die. Sometimes it fucking happens. Maybe their fucking faith was slightly weak at that point. Maybe they were like Peter who fell into the water. I don't know. But I want to see that crazy fucking shit. Personally. You tell me you ain't gonna show up to some fucking West Virginia, and my stepdad's from West Virginia, so I'm very familiar with mountain folk. Missing teeth and shit. He's got all his teeth, but still, like, backwood fucking hillbillies, man. But are they not truly fucking happy and enlightened? And that is something to be desired. To have faith in whatever. And then they just have these stories of how, like, some disease or sickness went away. Dude, there's this one fucking guy that fucking died. in the hospital and came back. What's interesting is a lot of people's like dying and coming back. A lot of their stories seem to be the same, or very similar. This dude died and came back, and he apparently walked with God, Jesus, whatever. And he was told he was going to have a new body. The motherfucker's blood type changed from like A positive to O or some shit. Here's another thing as I close this out. The night Danielle died, and I was supposed to be with her, because I was going to go with her, another boy died the same night in roughly the same area. He rolled his truck and came out of the truck, and it crushed him. His birthday was 12/01/1986. That's my fucking birthday.